Well, this is a typical gCADPlus design for some planting along a path running alongside a floodplain area. Here's a typical planting for a 100 feet section, and if we zoom in a little, there's some informal rock seating placed alongside the path, but we want to strengthen the planting in this area through here, and the simplest way to do that might be to take a symbol for the southern shield fern and copy that symbol and move it sort of in an informal grouping just to indicate the planting here. I like to select symbols and just move them around, change their angle, maybe even select one of them and scale, just to give some variety. So we've now got some additional planting in and around that opportunity there for pausing as you're walking along the path, and we've put some extra planting in there. Now if I scroll out a bit and look across to the left, the designer's put a plant schedule, and he's been experimenting with putting little symbols, numbered symbols for, let's have a look at that southern shield. There's the symbol, and he's got a number 8 by it. And if we come over here and turn on a layer that I've called red dot, you can see how the dots over the grouping correspond to that particular species. But we need to update the plant schedule. At the moment, it's not reflecting the changes that we've made. What I'm going to do is turn off that red dot layer, because I'm told that he would like to generate not use the red dots and just generate a new schedule. I'm in the habit, I'm not quite sure what he is in the habit of doing, but if I go to Format and Text Styles, I would set a style which I've called Plant Schedule. Let's choose one of the inbuilt fonts in gCADPlus, the Simplex font, and I've made it current. That will distinguish the lettering in the plant schedule from the lettering that's been put in here. Soft fall path along through here, of course, has been put in with a dimension, and the dimension style uses different font that we need to distinguish, I think, from the plant schedule. So what we'll do is eliminate that plant schedule, and in order to recount, we need to run the schedule again. So let's go gCADPlus, and we want to run the plant schedule. I'll just draw the standard schedule. The first question we are asked is the height. This happens to be an Imperial USA design, and I'm going to set it at a height of 1. If you're working in the metric area, that would probably be something like 250. So now we input a corner point. I've no idea of how this will look and whether my sizing is right, but let's just try. Now this is the standard schedule. No opportunity to answer questions, put the red dot in or not, and how to arrange it. It's just the standard schedule, which has the plant symbol, the botanical name, common name, and total. And that actually looks pretty good to me. What I would be inclined to do, I think, is dive in there and just maybe increase the height of the text in there. Remember, the plant schedule is just a block. But the important point is we've just added a whole series of southern shield ferns. Let's go back in to the design here, and we'll add some more. Oops, I should have noted the count. We've got 75 at the moment. Let's overplant a little by picking the symbol, and we'll just copy it 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Thick planting. We should now get an 80. We've got 75 at the moment. We need to update the schedule. So let's try gCADPlus, update the plant schedule, and now our number changes to 80. So the running a standard plant schedule, I think, works really well. It's very quick and very easy to update the plant schedule. I'll move to a layout, a typical layout, just to show you where we are at, because the schedule was run previously, and I suspect that this schedule now won't be in the right spot as far as the design. Let's right click and zoom extents. Can you see it just points here? And if we put a crossing window through here, what I want to do is to select, if I can, the floating viewport. Now I want to get rid of that floating viewport, and all I'm left with now is just that all I'm left with right now is just the rectangle around. So I haven't achieved my aim. So the plant schedule is sitting in its own floating viewport, and I need to be able to find it. There we are. So you can see it sits in that little zone. What we're seeing here is the plant schedule in model space. I'm not explaining myself terribly clearly, not explaining myself well at all. What I'll do is move this plant schedule well off the way, and let's go now to our layout, and we need to grab our floating viewport, move it like so. Now it's sitting outside, so we have two viewports, one looking at the design on the left and a second floating viewport which we want to look at the plant schedule. So I probably need to widen it just a little. We double click in here and dive in, and we can set our view box around the area we want and display it on the layout. So here we are. We have a floating viewport with a white background so it won't see on the sheet, and now we can move it into position, and there we have, we zoom extents now, we have things laid out nicely. And although that was long-winded, that little display, I think it's a very good way to work. Put your plant schedule well away from your main design, create a brand new floating viewport by right-clicking here and just add a viewport, and populate that viewport with a view of your new plant schedule. And you can change your design, update things, and everything freshens up. We need to add a logo down in the back corner, and I think we're nearly ready to print. So I hope that answers this particular designer's question: how do we update plant schedules and handle the presentation of them?